Welcome to Letters to Rising Leaders. It's a podcast series about God, soul, love, and leadership. And I'm your host, Thom Mohr. If you're joining along in my book, Letters to Rising Leaders, this is week 27. And the topic is sacred democracy. Happy 4th of July. Hope you had a great day yesterday. It's a day to celebrate the incredible gift of this country, a country of, by, and for the people. You might wonder how I ever decided to begin this work that I'm doing, this Letters to Rising Leaders work. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a politician. I'm not, at least in the traditional sense, a social justice activist. My background is in business and leadership. But I take my Christian faith seriously. I believe that if we're to be true followers of Jesus, we must love as Jesus loves, to live a WWJD life. What would Jesus do? My spark that started me on this journey occurred on a cold winter day in Minnesota on January 6th, 2020. As the news began to come in about a mob storming the U.S. Capitol, I became deeply shaken. When I was in college, I was a poli-sci undergrad, and I've studied government. I know how often in history angry mobs have overthrown governments. It happened in France with the storming of the Bastille that initiated the French Revolution. So too with the Russian Revolution. So too with the fall of Ferdinand Marcos in the Philippines. All began with mobs storming government buildings. And so I feared for America that day. I'm sure you did too. But there was one image that cut me to the heart. It was someone in the mob waving a flag, a big flag, and it just had on it one word: Jesus. As if Jesus would condone what happened that day. As if Jesus would support anti-democratic actions of any kind. Democracy is sacred. I began, after that day, embarking on a discovery journey. I reached out to a lot of different people from across the political spectrum, and I didn't want to know their political views so much as to know what are the core principles that you believe are at the heart of American democracy. And over time, 5 emerged: individual liberty, equal vote, equal justice, equal opportunity, and truth. These 5. And I think these 5 are so central because they speak to the reason why democracy is sacred. God has endowed us with twin gifts of equal worth and free will. Democracy is the only system of government that balances those. God created our diversity. He knows our fallen state. And that's why government of the people, by the people, for the people is so sacred, because it's self-healing, it's rejuvenating. There are checks and balances. There's elections that enable us to refresh and renew. John F. Kennedy said in his inaugural address, "In the long history of the world, only a few generations have been granted the role of defending freedom in its hour of maximum danger. I do not shrink from this responsibility. I welcome it. The energy, the faith, the devotion with which we bring to this endeavor will light our country and all who serve it, and the glow from that fire can truly light the world. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. We're in a moment again where those words ring true. We are called to strengthen the 5 pillars of American democracy. And this call is more important than any policy issue. It's more important than a political party. Our vote is a duty to the future, first and foremost, to protect and strengthen our democracy. God calls us to see our interdependence and then to work to resolve our differences through the democratic process. I'm going to leave it there. The song for this week is called America Ever Knew. Robert Berry, Thom Duell, and Mary Ellen Duell join me in harmony. Enjoy.
America's changing, spectacolor new. We're tugging and tearing at opposing views. Cut left, cut right, quick get in the fight. Which side are you? You bigot, you racist, you woke leftist mob. I'm right and you're wrong, get a life, get a job. Media silos channeling hate. There's only one way USA becomes great. Did you see what they did? Better tweet up a storm. We've got to escalate now. Well, what do I do when what makes you free makes it not possible for me to be me? You might have your needs, but I could care less. You are the reason we're in such a mess. Did you see what they did? Better tweet up a storm. We've got to escalate now. And so we go on down the road, shouting and fighting, bickering, biting, and no one wants to be where we are. But we don't know how to stop, to reach past the trash talk. America's changing, spectacolor new, and we can do better, both me and you. Today let's venture higher. Let's find civility. Let's join in hopeful choir, in 10-part harmony. Let's sing a brand new chorus. Let's sing our history. Let's sing what lies before us. Our new nation's liberty. America, bright shining star. God shed His grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. shining sea.
America, bright shining star, God shed his grace on thee. Well, that's it for today. I hope you'll join us next week for the next episode in this Letters to Rising Leaders podcast series. As I say each week, leader of goodness, go in faith to love and heal the world.